Hello and good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Rocketfund Live and Learn. I hope you're well. I hope you're enjoying lockdown as much as you possibly can. We're going to start in about a minute. So we're just going to give people a few more seconds for people to get involved, and we'll start very, very shortly in a minute's time. So grab a glass of water, a cup of tea. We're starting very soon, 12:05. Okay, we're back. Welcome to Rocketfund Live and Learn, everyone. I'm going to bring Bertie on in a second when he's ready. And thank you for joining us today. Hello, Bertie.
Hi, everyone. Wonderful to be here. And thanks very much for joining us to learn about the crowdfunding experience.
Right. So today, here's what we're going to talk about. First of all, we'll introduce ourselves. Then we're going to walk through these steps. So we'll discuss what crowdfunding actually is. We're going to discuss the benefits for crowdfunding for schools and PTAs. And then we're going to walk you through what makes a good crowdfunding project and what rewards you should offer. And once we've done that, then we're going to look at some school fundraising ideas for this term, including Panto Online, which is one of the campaigns we're running at the moment. And then we'll have plenty of time for Q&A at the end. But do feel free to pop in questions in the chat box, and we'll come to them as soon as we can. We can't see you. You can see us. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to type them, and we'll try to address them as soon as possible. So first of all, I'll introduce myself. So I'm Ben. I created Rocketfund 4 years ago now as part to try and help schools to modernize their fundraising efforts, which now feels even more relevant when we can't really organize physical events. So we've helped over 500 schools raise over £400,000, and this year the platform was acquired by Crowdfunder, which is where Bertie is from. And they've done a few more projects from that.
Yeah, so Crowdfunder has been in operation for about 7 years now, and it's a very broad platform, which means that as a business, charity, or school, or as an artist or filmmaker, you can come to raise money. And that means that we've got a very wide range of projects, which we'll be able to see here as an example. And to date, the projects that have used us have raised £110 million. And while crowdfunding as a concept was possibly an alternative method of finance little known, it's certainly something that we see every day in the news, especially whether it's for the environment, for politics, you name it. So at the moment, there's about 200 projects added to the website every day, which gives you a sense of kind of how many people are turning to crowdfunding. And it's my job as a coach, to help people run effective and successful crowdfunding campaigns.
Awesome. Okay. So we've told you who we are. I would love to know who else is here. There's a quick poll we're going to launch. If you could answer it now, it should be on screen. So which one of these best describes you? Unfortunately, this brilliant system doesn't show me how many people have actually answered the poll out of the total numbers. So we'll give it a couple more seconds and then see. Right, brilliant. So we've got some parents, lots of people from PTAs, and some others. Feel free to drop the others in the chat if you want to. Thank you for doing that. Right, so what is crowdfunding? Well, the dictionary definition that we've come up with is this: crowdfunding is the process of raising money from a large number of people. That's it. Usually done over the internet, and the platforms Rocketfund and Crowdfunder, we essentially enable people to do this over the internet. But the sort of history of crowdfunding goes back way before the start of the internet, and one of my favorite examples is of the Statue of Liberty, or the pedestal fund. So I think France gave New York the Statue of Liberty as a present, but they needed something to put it on, and didn't have enough money to pay for it. So there's a wonderful campaign where they were raising money. I think it was via check, or what you can see, to raise money to pay for that stand where she now sits. So crowdfunding has been around for a very long time, but the platforms that we have built just enable people to do it more efficiently than they used to do before. There are several different types of crowdfunding that we've got here, but we sort of focus on these two areas. So one is just pure donations, so people can literally just put money in the pot. But we sort of the sort of more advanced version of that is when you offer rewards in return for those donations. So that could be anything from a ticket to an event, it could be an online event, or a product or a gift, or even a simple thank you, or a sort of public recognition, or even a sponsorship thing. So the first thing you need to think about when you start a crowdfunding project is what do you want to fundraise for. So I'm going to do another poll just to see if you got what you guys have in mind this term. So if you could answer this, what things are you thinking about fundraising for this term? Hopefully the poll will be on your screen. Lots of technology, a few building projects, and feel free to type in.
That fits quite well in the theme of what you've seen so far, doesn't it? About technology and the importance of how accessible it is to everyone. If we are to rely on it much more in schools.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and there's a huge need at the moment, obviously due to COVID, and we've seen lots of projects coming through raising money for laptops or iPads, and there's actually a huge project at the moment from Camden Learning, which is essentially like Camden Council, raising money for the whole borough, and they've raised about £53,000 so far. And so we're hoping to, that's obviously a need at the moment. So we're hoping to sort of support more of those projects going forward. Thank you everyone for answering those questions, and thanks for the messages in the chat. Right, so here's how it works. This is a basic overview of how crowdfunding works. Think about if you create a project, and tell people what you want. You then share it, publish the project, and share it with everybody you know. Then people donate, and hopefully you hit your target. And afterwards, you send out any rewards that you've promised. And we're going to break that down now into sort of 4 stages. So to create a project, you go to rocketfund.org, click Get Started, and it should be really self-explanatory from there. You essentially add your own story in the pitch box here, and any images, and ideally a video to bring the whole thing to life. And then your rewards, which are hidden at the moment on the right-hand side, which can be really simple or can be as complex as you like. As you're doing this, you can save a draft, you can view previews, and say, don't worry about doing it all at once. And then you just launch it when you're ready. And once you do launch it, then you share it with everybody you know. And one of the best ways we found to sort of make sure you hit everyone you do know is to create a supporters map, which you've got on the right-hand side here. So here's a sort of template to sort of help you start thinking or brainstorming about people you could reach out to, and from previous supporters to like local people and businesses. You can think about especially the ones which are doing well at the moment, like supermarkets or estate agents, for example, local media, school suppliers, school alumni. That's a really big untapped market for many schools, and of course using the school social media channels as well. But the sort of first group is going to be parents of the school, and then that you sort of hopefully snowball from there. And some of the main channels you can use, obviously, your school website, school newsletter, social media, any parent mail tool you have, like from email to text messaging systems, work really well. And then your any school networks that exist. So from PTAs to governors to alumni networks.
I think the value of the networking process or supporters map process is initially, maybe it's not clear immediately how big the network you've got access to is, but schools are such a cornerstone of community life that there are so many connections, whether the children of many people who across industries go to the school or have previously attended. And the crowdfunding process is a way to unite all of these people at once within a very succinct kind of short-term period, which is traditionally about four weeks of crowdfunding. So it's a very good way to promote the sentiment of how important our schools are and its particular need at the moment, while involving the wider community, including the kind of alumni, the parents and the staff, but also the rest of the networks that exist in the community too.
Absolutely. And here's a top tip before you do launch, is that if you can, try and get the word out before you launch. So especially with your close community, try to build excitement with them by prepping them about what you're going to do. So say you're raising money for some new laptops, or so looking at the comments to upgrade your ICT suite. Like, try to get the word out about that before you go live, so then people are expecting your message when you do send it out, and this will help you get off to a really, really strong start. And then hopefully once you do go live, like this project, like you'll see the money fly in. So the biggest benefit is that it's super easy for people to donate. So it works really well on mobile. So if you send text messages or WhatsApp messages or social media posts, we build a browser in Facebook, it's really easy for anyone to donate with a credit or debit card directly through your page. And you might be surprised how much you raise. We often get sort of rogue donations of of several £100s from almost out of nowhere, from local businesses or alumni who maybe hear about your projects through social media or local press. So it's a really, really fun thing to try. And hopefully you hit your target. So there's two ways of fundraising. There's a all or nothing fundraising, or there's keep what you raise. All or nothing means exactly that. So if you don't hit your target, all the money is refunded. So be careful of that one. The benefit of it is that it creates a bit more jeopardy and excitement and urgency in the project and for the donors. So it gives you a reason to keep sort of shouting about it. You can literally say, if we don't hit our target, then we won't raise anything. So we'd suggest that, but just be careful you don't set your target too high, because obviously that could backfire. And of course, if you aren't going to hit your target, you can always change it. Just email us or reduce your target to something more achievable. Any comments on that one, Bert? Oh, you're on mute.
Classic. I think the page itself is very important because it's a window into the school life and the community, and essentially a fantastic way to explain and paint a clear picture of how important it is and how connected it is. When you're picking your target, you should always start with the minimum you need to put the project in place, because what the psychology of crowdfunding works by that success breeds further success. So you want to be able to demonstrate that you've got the backing to hit your initial target, and that way you can manage the risk of the project and go on to raise more money beyond that. So it's quite nice when you're thinking about ICT or classroom furniture or tech, exactly kind of what the minimum standpoint is that you'd like to fundraise for, and then what's next after that. So we've got £1,000, which means that we can deliver X amount of hoodies. If we raise £2,000, does that mean that we'll be able to put together t-shirts as well, and things like that? So it's a good way to start with the minimum, put in a good plan to overfund, and have different points at which you can overfund with different ambitions and goals.
That's a great shout. So it's not totally clear when you're creating a project, but there's an initial target and a stretch target. So treat your initial target as your minimum, basically, sort of your minimum, but not your ultimate. Use your stretch target as sort of your next step or your ultimate target. Because momentum breeds momentum. So, and then when you do hit your target and the project's all finished, the money will be transferred within 7 days, and you send out the rewards if you've offered any. So this is where why I recommend keeping the rewards as simple as you like, just to make your job easier once the project's finished. And to be honest, thank yous from the teacher, the students, or the head teacher are often enough to motivate people to support you. So we're going to look at the benefits of crowdfunding for schools, just to sort of, because they're not all financial. Of course, the first one is it means you can collect donations online from anyone, wherever they are and anytime. So people beyond your close network at school, your close physical network, can support you. So like I said, alumni or grandparents, friends of friends, they can all chip in to support your cause, which is awesome. And you might be surprised who does. But beyond just collecting donations, and there's a bunch of other benefits too. So it enables you to aggregate all your fundraising into one place, so you can see how you're doing towards your grand target. You can even create sub projects beneath your main project, which I think is a really effective way of like running. Say if you have many events over the term or the year to go towards your overall goal of the ICT suites. And the other benefits are that it enables people to donate anonymously, which means sometimes appeals to bigger donors, especially. And it means people can donate as much as they like. So anything from £1 to £10,000 we've seen, which means there's absolutely no pressure. So the message from you as a fundraiser is simply just like donate or share, or ideally both. But there's no fixed amount people have to donate. Are there any other benefits you've come across that with your experience?
Well, I think it allows you to evolve in your learning of how to fundraise. There's so much guidance that's part of the Rocketfund process of putting a campaign together, that you'll get a really good experience of how to tell the story of the school, how to choose what channels in which to promote it, how to think beyond the initial network that you've got access to, and how to connect with people and get that key engagement. So if you can crowdfund this one time, you'll really understand the process, and it's something that can be repeated every year if it's a certain kind of thing that becomes inbuilt into the school's legacy that they expect to do it. You can get kids involved. We certainly work with lots of educational bodies and institutions where the students themselves help put the page together. So it's a really good kind of learning exercise, community exercise, and you will find out what motivates people to get involved. And if you find that out, then from any other future fundraising you do how to get that reaction from people. Cool.
I'm sorry about my connection. Well, if it is my connection, I'm really sorry, guys. Please message if it's broken. I'll switch to my phone as a dongle. We've got a couple of questions about raffles. We're going to come on to those in a bit, but I just can answer them quickly. Hillary's question about running a raffle online and then without a target. I'm not sure you can do a project without a target. Correct me if I'm wrong, Bertie.
You would always need to choose a target. We just mean that you choose the minimum target that you believe needed to accomplish the project, and you can go on to stretch your target beyond that.
I mean, and if you're concerned about setting a target, I guess just set it to a fairly low amount, £100 or something, to get over that. And you can also make it keep what you raise, which means you'll just keep whatever's raised. I didn't really mention that earlier. There's two ways. There's all or nothing, or keep what you raise. Keep what you raise literally does what it says on the tin. The benefit of having a target and doing the raffle on Rocketfund is that you can, as well as selling raffle tickets and having the sort of the excitement of winning something, you can also have it, you can inform people about where the money's going. So you can make it a raffle with a cause, basically, or we call it a prize draw. But basically, you can in your project description, you can just say where the money's going to go, and then that can justify your target. So you may actually encourage people to buy more tickets or donate more than they normally would at the sort of cash raffle, because they can see where the money's going, and that even if they don't win, they're still supporting a really good cause. I hope that explains things. And Emma was asking about gift aid. Absolutely. If you're a charity, you can tick the gift aid box when you're creating a project. And then at the end of your campaign, you'll get a download of all the people who've added gift aid to their donation in all the correct format that you need to then do your gift aid claim to HMRC. Cool. I think that's it. And we'll talk about raffles a bit more a bit later. So what makes a good crowdfunding project? Got two examples here. I'm going to talk to the one on the left, and Bertie's going to talk to the one on the right, and compare the differences. So the one on the left is a pretty project. One picture, simple text, no headings, no video, no other pictures, pretty plain. So we'll probably grade that like a C, as in the school crowdfunding terms. But they still did it. They still raised over £1,000, and from 72 supporters. So actually a fantastic result, especially in 14 days in July when people were just sort of coming out of lockdown. And the cause was brilliant. So the cause was very clear. But there's lots of things they could have done to sort of to have boosted their grade and improved their project, potentially attracted more donations, like the project did on the right, which Bertie's going to talk through. You're on mute, Bert.
I'll just share my page with you so you can get a look at this particular crowdfunding project. Essentially, it was a little school in Morning, kind of south part of Cornwall, who, like many, were trying to introduce an outdoor classroom. So they have a little bit of land outside the school, and for the importance of getting children to appreciate and understand about nature, they've got to interact with it at a young age. So we're seeing lots of schools doing similar types of projects. So what makes it a good campaign is you've got a video. So they've made the effort to put together a 2-minute piece of content, which will be, in this case, really straightforward and an easy video, which is in fact only less than 30 seconds long. But so they don't need to be complicated. They just need to be something that's made an effort and that helps tell the story of the actual school in the process. And then on their page, they've used subheadings to separate all of the content rather than just one big block of text. And you've got imagery which paints a clear picture to the audience of who benefits, inspires them with the nice bit of greenery that they can see outside and the fun that the kids are having. They're able to focus on and tell much more about the story of some of the individual students and connect it to kind of the wider community. So you can see the design here of the garden in question, what the area it will encompass once it's done. So really, my view of crowdfunding is that if you make an effort, then your audience will make an effort too. So it's just about capturing that kind of community feel onto the page and getting lots of people involved. And they actually had lots of great rewards, which enabled people to kind of pledge on the project so they would effectively raise more. This at the moment, this project is in what's called kind of forever funding. So that's no longer able to receive rewards, but they would have different types of rewards, which would be products, maybe a seed packet or a signed bit of artwork for the donor. It could be experiences or events. So that could be a lunch put on in the garden once it's there. All of the produce may be grown over next summer. Sponsorship or membership, sponsor a bench in the garden, a seed or a particular bed or plant, and general thank you. So just drawing people to their attention to a certain amount of money to pledge, and they could just get an email from maybe the head teacher to say thank you for their support. So lots and lots of cool things that you can do on there, and I think it's well worth spending a bit of time kind of crafting the effort behind it. So I think we're back on the slides now.
Yeah. And someone's also asked if we're going to be sending a recording out after this. Yeah, so we'll send a recording of this to everyone who's attended. And do feel free, if you have any questions as well, obviously feel free to ask them now, or if feel free to email us afterwards too if you have any questions which come up later. So just getting back to the slide we're on. So hopefully that was clear, the difference between those two projects. Like, you can just go basic and it probably will work. But if you really want to, maximize your chance of raising loads of money, then we'd recommend adding some pictures, adding some headings, doing a video. It can just be a short one if you like. It can be on your phone, just to really bring your project to life, basically. And here's our sort of checklist of things that, to include. So, a good title. This one's pretty straightforward, and a good tagline. This bit here. That's, most people will read these and they will hopefully watch the video. That's the best way to grab their attention and get them to click the donate button. Also, like, have a good realistic target. We talked about that. Realistic initial target with a good stretch target to help you keep going. Lots of images, nice video, and a clear story. So make it clear what you're fundraising for and why it's important. Right, so we talked about rewards. Top tip, keep them simple. So someone Karen has just asked, what's the fee structure? So Rocketfund is free to use completely, and we don't even charge commission on what you raise. You'll pay a transaction fee on anything you do raise, which is just unfortunately unavoidable. It's the sort of credit card transaction fees that Stripe charge, our payment processor charges, which is currently 1.9% plus 25p plus VAT per transaction. So it's essentially what every shopkeeper has to pay to manage online transactions. Right. So back to rewards. Keep them simple. But if you want to get imaginative, there's lots of things you could also do. So keep them simple would just be thank yous. Other things you offer would be like things that the students have created. Here's some examples here. Some gifts, different levels of sort of quality or complexity of gifts, all the way up to like sponsorship opportunities. So perhaps for a local business, they might want to, say, for example, a estate agent who might be wanting to target parents in their local area would be a great sponsor for any form of school fundraising. So just get creative with that, especially at the moment. There's obviously some businesses are struggling and some businesses are doing really well. I've heard that wine businesses are doing really well too. So if there's a local wine merchant in your area, you might be able to ask them, or bike shop, or DIY shops are doing really well too. Just on Karen's question, how do we stay in business? So the way we make money is it's through tips. So when donors come through and make a donation, we ask them to, if they'd like to add to their donation by making a tip and help us keep this thing free for schools, basically. And you'll see if you go to Rocketfund now and click on a project and try to donate, you'll see exactly how that works. Here's some more ideas for awards, like we talked about, offering products and services, offering tickets to an event. Right now it might be need to be an online event like a quiz or a raffle or a school play. Offering sponsorship opportunities like we've discussed, and simple thank you messages also work really well. Okay, so finally onto fundraising ideas for this term. So first of all, we're going to do a quick poll, see what you guys are thinking about doing already this term, and then we'll discuss some ideas that we've got for how you could use Rocketfund. So if you could, answer the poll now. Anyone out there? Is there anything planned this term? If it's other, then feel free to type it in the chat. raffles are winning so far. Lots of others. So yeah, feel free for some other. Please type it in the chat so we can discuss it. A quiz night, that could be fun. I think it's about time they came back into fashion again. It's been 6 months since our last quiz. Okay, I'm going to end the poll there. Lots of others. So yeah, feel free to drop those in the chat. It'd be really interesting to see what you are planning. Sponsored walking event. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. Okay, so here's some ideas of things you could do on Rocketfund, and essentially just we're trying to sort of spark imagination for how you can translate these old, perhaps traditionally offline events to to an online event. So a bake sale, we've got one set up at the moment actually on Rocketfund. I think it just went live and went back again, but there's planning on going live soon. You can literally sell your cakes online. So just you do a normal bake sale, but set your rewards as cakes, and then arrange some sort of like pickup process or delivery process through the students if you trust them to not eat the cakes on the way home. This particular project that is going live soon was planning on enabling parents to pick up the cakes from when they pick up the kids, basically. So you essentially can pre-order your cake through the project. Another one is Fancy Dress Day, so that can obviously still be done in school safely. Kids can come in school in fancy dress, but you could purchase the tickets through the Rocketfund page. So you just have to reward as a ticket to wear fancy dress for the day, to avoid having to use cash. An online quiz. So I mentioned the thing about doing a quiz. So obviously you use something like Zoom or Google Hangouts or Microsoft Teams or whatever tool that you prefer for for a webinar or for a quiz like this. But the idea is that you sell tickets beforehand through Rocketfund, and so you maybe just have one reward, which is the tickets to the quiz. But you could have sort of other rewards too, like a sort of sponsorship opportunity for the quiz, or access to a bigger prize, or just use your imagination to encourage people to donate a bit more. Something else is the online prize draw. So this essentially is the raffle, but we call it the online prize draw to get around some sort of legal gambling thing. But essentially, this is a great way to do your raffle online and in a safe, legal, friendly way. We've got a whole page on how to run the online prize draws on Rocketfund, which I will ask Nicole to pop in the chat. If I can grab it now.
I think Ben might have exited the room. Came maybe too difficult questions for him, but I'm sure he's in the background somewhere, getting some articles for you. We'll kind of just wait until he gets back, I guess. But as he says, they're a wonderful way in which to essentially get gifts like you would expect from a normal raffle contributed to your crowdfunding campaign. I've done a few crowdfunding campaign when I've asked artists in my village or local businesses to submit a night's stay at a hotel or a meal for four at a restaurant. And these are all wonderful ways in which to involve your community. I think things that people want to pledge on directly, but maybe something that the businesses would be able to offer for your cause, which means they still get the customers in. They don't have to make a financial contribution, but they can support you with a reward. Ben tried to get out of answering that last question, so he dropped off the webinar. But he's
I'm
back.
so sorry. So sorry, my internet crashed. I'm now tethering my phone.
He'll be doing a crowdfunding campaign soon to raise money for a new broadband in his area.
Yeah. What was the question? Is everything?
We're just generally chatting about the prize draws and raffles and how to kind of involve other businesses, getting them to supply rewards and prizes, and that way encouraging them to support the campaign as well.
Awesome. I'll share. I'll try and share my screen, or I'll just send a link to it actually to save any hassle in the box. So there's a couple of prize draws running already on Rocketfund, and this one's got a really nice. Can you see my screen? Sometimes it takes a while to load. But there's this one I just shared in the chat. They've created Christmas hampers from donations of luxury items from parents. So every parent had to donate, like, I don't know, luxury shampoo or some chocolates or some biscuits or something like that. And then they've aggregated them into luxury hampers. And so the prize draw is aiming to you. So that's basically what you win. A lovely hamper, which is of items donated by the parents. That's a great idea. Other prize draws, obviously, like Bert was saying, getting local businesses to donate experiences or gifts, a great thing to do too. Right, looks like we're having internet connection issues. So one of the best examples, this is kind of a bit big, but this is from crowdfunders' side. The Leadmill Theatre in Sheffield raised a shed load of money, £128,000, by raffling off Alex Turner's Fender guitar. So Arctic Monkeys guitarist, I think it's a guitarist or lead singer, one of them, Arctic Monkeys, they raffled off his guitar and they raised 130 grand. It's just incredible. And the beauty of this is that if we just move ourselves slightly, you can see the sort of, there was one single prize. It was it's £5 entry or more. But the point was that the reason this works so well is because there's a really clear cause and a great prize. And this is why sort of running a prize draw on Rocketfund beats doing it like offline or through another platform, because you have this sort of the cause as well. So if you've read the comments on this page, you'll see that like people, obviously they're well up to win the prize, but also they just really want to support the Mill Theatre to stay open, and get themselves through this horrible year. And we'll share a link to that as well shortly, but it's just, some really great inspiration. So it doesn't have to be hundreds of prizes. That's kind of the point on that. It could just be one single great prize and a good cause, with enough to motivate people. And then the last thing, sort of idea or suggestion we've got is running a Christmas fair. So instead of doing a physical fair, you can just have the things you'd normally be buying as rewards, and then people can choose to buy those things when they come to your page. So it could be like biscuits or Christmas cards, or whatever else, like other wonderful things you normally sell at your Christmas fair could be a reward, and then people can buy those as they come to your page. Last thing, sorry, last but not least, is doing your school play online. So we've teamed up with Panto Online, actually, which is a campaign being run by Peter Duncan of a Blue Peter fame, and he's recorded his own pantomime in his own back garden this summer and is now selling tickets to it. So you can watch pantomime online this year with him. So we've teamed up with him to try and encourage schools to do the same with their own Christmas plays or pantomimes or nativities. And the idea is that you can't have an audience, but you can still film the play and sell tickets to it in advance through Rocketfund. Again, just setting the reward as tickets to the play, and send people a link to watch it at their leisure. So, and that can be on put it onto YouTube or Vimeo. And if you're concerned about privacy, then you can password protect that video on Vimeo, and obviously only send the link to people who bought tickets. It could be a really nice way to bring some festive cheer to Christmas this year. Right, so that is the end of the presentation. There's time for questions. So does anyone have any questions, thoughts, concerns, ideas, anything at all? Feel free to drop it in the chat. And in the meantime, I'm going to drop some of the links in to motivate people. Question from Emma on can we collect gift aid? Yep. So if you're only if you're a charity, if your school or PTAs are set up as a charity, then you tick the gift aid box when you create a project on Rocketfund, and then that that'll then be added to your page. So when donors come through, they'll be given the option to add gift aid, as you would expect. If they do, then you'll see how much you've raised in gift aid, like below your main total. And then at the end of your project, when you've hit your deadline, you can download all the list of all the donors who've added gift aid in the right structure for you to then upload to HMRC's website to claim the gift aid. So it's really straightforward. Any other questions? I hope we addressed the raffle questions okay, or the prize draw. And like I said, if you go to the prize draw page, it should explain everything too. Yeah, so Hillary's got a great question about if we wanted our parents to do a sponsored walk over the Christmas holidays, could we set up a Rocketfund page for anyone to sponsor our families? So absolutely, and I think the best way to do this is using our multiplier functionality. So you can create a single project, which is your PTA, or sorry, your school, with your objective, saying what you're raising money for, and that you want to encourage people to do their own walks, and then they can create their own projects which contribute towards your total. I think the easiest thing for me to do will be to share my screen and show you if I can do this. Will the screen sharing work? It took a long time last time. Can you see? Oh, maybe you can't see that. I'll pull up a project and share a link. There's a project on Rocketfund at the moment which is doing this to great effect. So this project, who's raising money for smart boards, they've enabled the multiplier, which means that then they can encourage other people to raise money for them too, and it all goes to the same cause. So if you click on that link, you'll see there's a big pink button saying start fundraising, and that means if you click that, it means you can bypass all the sort of normal bank details bits. You just create a project, and anything you raise goes straight into the overall target that's been set up by the school. So for the sponsored walk, you could suggest that parents create their own page and then get people to donate to their sponsored walk over Christmas, which then is all feeds into your overall target. I hope that makes sense. It's much easier to explain on screen. But if you explore that project, and if you go to the supporters page as well here, you'll see that they've got 2 people running projects to support them. And you'll see there's you can track how much each project is raising towards your total. It's in the fundraising tab, fundraisers tab on that page I just shared. Right. Any other questions or any comments or any words of wisdom you want to share, Bert, before we?
Final word of wisdom is just to get started. As Ben mentioned, it's free to start a campaign, and to get it straight in your own minds as to what it involves. Then you can work through the creation of a page and all of the processes of that, because that will give you a really good idea of what's possible and how to do it. You can keep a page in draft as long as you like. There's no incentive or pressure to go live. To get started is just the best way to proceed.
Absolutely. That's kind of sort of the last thing. It makes so much more sense once you get started, basically. So we encourage you to get going, and then if you have any questions, just email us, and we'll be there to help. And likewise, if you want to review a project or to talk through your project once you've started creating it, then send us an email. We're happy to do that too. It's just much easier to see it once there's something on the page. So I have a question from Emma. Yeah, so that's a great idea from Emma, saying you could sell stalls to businesses at your Christmas fair. Like that idea. So you could create a Rocketfund page just for which you're targeting businesses with, and then you could charge them through. They could buy a stall through your Rocketfund page. That's cool. We haven't seen that yet. That's a nice idea. And then they could even create sub pages on your, if you had an overall Christmas fair page. So, right, any questions, guys? If not, then I think we'll wrap it up. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll send this out. We'll send the recording out to everybody who's registered. And like I said, feel free to reply and send us any questions if you do have any more. But thank you for all your positive comments. We really appreciate it. Thanks, Alison.
Thanks, everyone. Take care. Goodbye.
Cheers.